Our beloved superstars of the past are starting to fade, and everyone's buzzing about who's going to carry the NBA torch into the 2030s. The mainstream sports media seems to have their sights set on guys like Anthony Edwards and Victor Wembanyama. They're being groomed as the next big things, but here's the kicker. Luka Doncic isn't getting nearly the hype he deserves compared to these guys. It's downright baffling, considering that Luka has been a top 10 player since his sophomore season. Back in 2022, at the tender age of 22, Luka's individual play and success were light years ahead of Anthony Edwards at the same age. Yet, for some reason, he's still not the media's golden boy. Let's dive into why Luka's the real deal and deserves way more love than he's getting.
Who will be the next face of the NBA?
Ant-Man.
He's the face of the NBA now.
It's just like when Jordan came up. Magic and Bird and Kareem and Moses, all those guys had to take a back seat. Ant-Man is here, and he's here to stay.
Luka Doncic, not only is he ridiculously good at basketball, but let's be honest, the dude's got the looks too. Seriously, it's like he walked straight out of a basketball fairy tale. One of his most legendary moments is that insane game-winning shot over Rudy Gobert. Picture this. The Mavericks are in a nail-biter, the game could go either way, and everyone's glued to Luka. Gobert, who's basically a giant wall on defense, is right there, and Luka just dances around him like it's nothing. He finds that tiny bit of space, takes the shot, and as the ball sails, the whole arena is on pins and needles. And then, swish! The crowd goes wild. Luka just did it again, proving why he's one of the most thrilling players in the NBA today. Now, Luka's not just a one-hit wonder when it comes to clutch moments. This guy has a whole highlight reel of them. Take the playoffs, for example. It's like his personal stage for jaw-dropping performances. Remember Game 5 against Minnesota? In the fourth quarter, Luka was a perfect 3 for 3 from the field. One of those shots was a fadeaway over Jaden McDaniels with the shot clock about to expire. It was like watching an artist at work, just cooler. These aren't just regular points, they're "how does he do that?" points. Luka reads the game like a genius, stays cooler than a cucumber, and nails it every time. Let's get into some juicy stats. Luka's clutch stats are off the charts. In elimination games, he's averaging 35 points per game, first in NBA history. Game 7s? Oh, just a casual 40.5 points per game, another record. These numbers are bananas. We're talking about stats that outshine legends like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant when they were at similar stages in their careers. Luka's not just scoring points. He's seizing those critical moments, showing incredible leadership, and boosting his team's confidence like nobody's business. Every time Luka nails a game-winning shot or pulls off a clutch performance, he's not just adding points to his career total, he's building a legacy. He's showing us that mental toughness, calm under pressure, and pure skill are just as important as physical talent. Luka's career might still be young, but he's already setting the stage for future generations. His clutch moments are becoming the stuff of legend, and we're all here for it. Now, let's dive into one of the most epic showdowns in recent basketball history. We are talking about Western Conference Finals, Luka Doncic versus Anthony Edwards. The media was all over Edwards, dubbing him the next big thing. Meanwhile, Luka, with his already stellar resume, was cast as the underdog. But let's be real, Luka had a whole different story to tell. So, the series kicks off, and Luka decides to remind everyone why he's a basketball wizard. He's dropping 32 points, grabbing 10 rebounds, dishing out 8 assists, and snagging 2 steals per game. These aren't just stats. These are, put some respect on my name numbers. Game 1 was a masterpiece. Luka racked up 15 points in the fourth quarter alone, shooting a sizzling 58% from the field and playing all 12 minutes. He basically took a decent Timberwolves lead and said, "Nah, this game's mine," leading the Mavericks to a comeback win. Meanwhile, the media was busy hyping up Anthony Edwards like he was the second coming of basketball greatness. Don't get me wrong, Edwards is talented, but he couldn't keep up with Luka's relentless consistency and clutch performances. Sure, Edwards had his moments, but when it came to crunch time, Luka was the one stealing the show. In Game 1, Luka hits a ridiculous step-back 3 over Edwards, and then blocks Rudy Gobert on a critical layup attempt. Talk about showing off your all-around game, but here's the kicker. Even with Luka outplaying Edwards, the media just couldn't shift their narrative. Back in 2022, Luka was already a top 10 player, yet the media hype never matched his on-court magic. He led the Mavericks past the 64-win Suns in the playoffs and finished 5th in MVP voting. But still, no love. It was like the media was stuck in an Edwards fever dream, overlooking Luka's extraordinary contributions. Stats leading in points, rebounds, assists, and steals painted a clear picture of who was running the show. Now, gather round, because we need to talk about Luka Doncic and his Game 5 showdown against Minnesota. This guy was on fire, playing like he had rockets in his shoes. In that game, Luka was a one-man wrecking crew, dropping 25 points in the first half alone. He was hitting 10 out of 16 shots. And let me tell you, those 5 three-pointers were nothing short of magical. It was like watching a master artist at work, reminding everyone of that time he lit up the Suns in 2022 with 27 first-half points in Game 7, leading to a jaw-dropping upset over a 64-win team. Luka's got this killer instinct that's just unreal. Imagine him pulling off those insane step-back threes, making crucial defensive plays, and nailing game-winning shots. In Game 5 against Minnesota, there was this one moment that left everyone's jaws on the floor. The shot clock was winding down, and Luka, with the coolness of a cat on a sunny windowsill, nailed an impossible fadeaway over Jaden McDaniels. It wasn't just skill, it was pure, ice-cold composure. And in the fourth quarter, Luka was flawless, hitting all 3 of his shots, including a mid-range jumper that put the game on ice for Dallas. But hey, don't sleep on Luka's defense. He's not just about flashy offense. In Game 1 of the series, with Minnesota ahead by 4, Luka pulled off a highlight reel sequence. He hit a step-back 3 over Anthony Edwards, then turned around and blocked Gobert's layup attempt. It's like he's got a sixth sense for these clutch moments, making a difference on both ends of the court. Now, let's talk about mind games. Luka's dominance is a psychological nightmare for his opponents. When he's on, it's like he's playing a different game, and the other team is left wondering what hit them. In Game 5, his relentless first-half assault didn't just score points. It broke the Timberwolves' spirit. They were left thinking, is there any way to stop this guy? It's demoralizing, knowing that no lead is safe and no defense can hold when Luka is in the zone. Luka's performances aren't just about stacking up stats, they're about sending a message. Remember that Suns game in 2022? Scoring 27 points in the first half of Game 7 wasn't just about winning. It was Luka saying, I thrive in these do-or-die situations. This psychological edge is a huge part of his game, making opponents both fear and respect him. And this is how this guy went from a promising young player to a future Hall of Famer faster than you can say, slam dunk. Seriously, his journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. It all started when he was drafted 3rd overall by the Atlanta Hawks in 2018, only to be traded to the Dallas Mavericks. And boy, did he make an entrance. In his rookie season, Luka was putting up 21.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 6.0 assists per game, which earned him the NBA Rookie of the Year award. Not too shabby, right? But wait, there's more. Luka didn't just rest on his laurels. By his second season, this guy was named to the All-NBA First Team, making him the youngest player to get that honor since Kevin Durant. He also finished 4th in MVP voting. Yep, you heard that right, 4th. And this was just his sophomore year. During the 2020 playoffs, Luka averaged 31 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 8.7 assists per game. Remember that unforgettable game-winning three-pointer against the Clippers in Game 4? That was pure Luka magic. Year after year, Luka kept getting better. In the 2021 to 2022 season, he averaged 28.4 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 8.7 assists per game, leading the Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals. And in the playoffs, he was a beast, averaging 35 points in elimination games, the highest in NBA history. This wasn't just about the numbers, though. It was about his insane work ethic, his adaptability, and his growing leadership both on and off the court. Looking ahead, it's pretty clear that Luka's path leads straight to the Hall of Fame. At just 25 years old, he's already racked up multiple All-NBA first-team selections and set countless records. His clutch performances in the playoffs have drawn comparisons to some of the greatest players ever. If he keeps this up, there's no doubt he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame someday. And let's not forget Luka's international appeal. This guy started his professional career in Europe, winning the EuroLeague MVP and Final Four MVP in 2018 with Real Madrid before making his way to the NBA. His success has inspired young players around the world, and his influence goes way beyond his on-court heroics. But unfortunately, despite being a basketball wizard with a resume that could make anyone jealous, Luka somehow doesn't get the media love he deserves. It's like watching a magician pull off incredible tricks, but everyone's busy looking at the guy juggling in the corner. And this bias really shows when you compare Luka to players like Anthony Edwards. Sure, Edwards is talented, but he hasn't matched Luka's consistent, high-level performances. Yet, the media treats him like the second coming of Michael Jordan. Take the 2023 Western Conference Finals, for example. The narrative was all about Edwards, the supposed rising star. Meanwhile, Luka was out there dominating the series, but you wouldn't know it from the headlines. It's like the media had blinders on, focusing on Edwards while Luka was putting on a clinic. So, why does Luka get the short end of the stick? Let's break it down. First, there's this whole marketability thing. The NBA loves promoting players who fit a certain flashy image. Edwards, with his explosive dunks and charismatic personality, is a marketing dream. Luka, on the other hand, relies more on skill and basketball IQ than raw athleticism. His game is a masterpiece, but it doesn't generate the same immediate wow factor. Plus, let's be honest, Luka's European background might be part of the issue. The media tends to shower more love on American-born players, leaving international stars like Luka on the sidelines. And then there's the all-powerful narrative. The NBA thrives on juicy storylines that captivate fans. Edwards is positioned as the next big thing, with a compelling story and a flashy playing style that's easy to sell. Luka's story is more about consistent excellence, and while that's amazing, it doesn't have the dramatic twists and turns that make for compelling headlines.